Still profited. That's how good my lineups were.
Dude, same with me. I profited on both sides pretty well. Got close even with Desmond Bain, but
Yeah.
that's how it goes in NBA DFS, right, fellas? Happy Sunday. Uh, we have more disgusting slate chalk to go over today. Sorry, and with the way that FanDuel and DraftKings split up these slates is so dumb. FanDuel has the early game that starts in 1 hour. That's why the stream's a little early today. But they don't have the night game, and then DraftKings starts in 2 hours, and they do have the night game. So it's completely different slates on both sides. We'll get into that. Smitty, how we doing this weekend?
Pretty good, man. It's been a busy weekend, a lot of sports, so looking to keep it rolling.
Yeah, this is the first Sunday I did not play on the main slate. I had a ticket on FanDuel for a satellite and just made a quick one there. But yeah, time is time is pretty valuable now, and NBA's in full go. We have a lot of news to catch up on today. So, what's up, guys? We got Harry Potter in the chat. Colin, always good to see you. Unicorn love, yes sir. So, Smitty, did we have? I don't think we had any major injury news for today, right?
No, nothing major. In the later games for Dallas, Gafford's questionable.
Mhm.
So if he's out, I mean, that could secure the minutes for Lively. But that's for the most part, that's it.
And we already know that Luca's out tonight, so he'll be out for a couple of games. Trying to see here. Okay, I think this is for tomorrow. What I'm looking at, but so what I alluded to with the different slates, I think we should start with FanDuel since that locks a little earlier. Because I think a lot of what we're going to be talking about with DraftKings is that Brooklyn Kings game, which is not on the FanDuel slate. So let's go over everything else, and then we'll get to that night game last. Let's actually start with this first game that's only on FanDuel. Just pull it up real quick. That's Washington, Indiana. So Smitty mentioned he was getting a ton of Kyle Kuzma in his exposures on FanDuel. What are we doing with this game?
Yeah, this game seems pretty tough to avoid. It has one of the better totals, a 242 total. The spread's kind of a little bigger than I'd like, but overall, this game just looks really appealing. I'm getting to a lot of Siakam, Kyle Kuzma. I think Malcolm Brogdon is a good value play, and then Miles Turner looks really good. Halliburton, I'm kind of okay getting away from, especially at higher ownership. But and Matherin's probably appropriately priced, but overall, this game just looks really good for fantasy.
Yeah, I'm getting to a ton of this game, and usually we don't love that when these slates are kind of like that. But yeah, like Smitty mentioned, this is just the best fantasy environment when teams are playing against Washington. We love the pace that Indiana plays with, even if Halliburton's not quite the player that he was last year. So, I mean, you mentioned Malcolm Brogdon, man. Let's take a closer look at Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah, Jordan Poole is out too, so I kind of think he could start. I figure he will.
He started the last game, and so his first couple of games, I want to say he played around 20 minutes. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up his game log right now, but he had terrible games, didn't do anything, and then after that, he kind of did. So Malcolm Brogdon, man, I'm getting 50% in my FanDuel lineups right now. Is that? I mean, are you around there?
Yeah, I have 60%.
It's kind of absurd. Get this up here. All right, I just want to pull up Brogdon because this dude had like a double double with rebounds, if I'm not mistaken, or he got close anyway.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
He's not on DraftKings, so I can't pull up the game log. But just trust us. His price is probably too cheap with Jordan Poole out. And so, yeah, I mean, Malcolm Brogdon. Model's not going to pick up on it at all, but he had like a zero 0.5 OF index the first couple of games he played. So the model really hates Malcolm Brogdon, 24% ownership. Brogdon and Kuzma. Yep.
Yeah, I do think there is some other appealing pieces like let's see, we have him for 8% ownership, but I think Keyshawn George, he's going to get the minutes. He's shooting guard, which is a pretty tough position to fill. So I think he's a pretty good pivot to some of the other more owned pieces. Him and Koulibaly, I think, are both interesting.
Yeah, I'm getting a decent amount of Koulibaly. And then I guess my tournament play from this game is Corey Kispert, slightly over the field there at 4,400. I think he's probably worth some shots projected for 27 minutes.
Yeah, I like that.
And then let's take a closer look at Indiana. You mentioned you like Matherin. Yeah, I think that this is probably a good price to be playing him even at 30%. Miles Turner, Pascal. I'm not comfortable playing Halliburton, but I'm very okay getting heavy ownership on the rest of these guys. So are you under on Halliburton?
Yeah, right now I currently am. I kind of want to keep it that way too, but It's just hard because he's in such a good spot, and Nimhard's out, Neesmith's out, Shepard's out. Like every other ball handler's out. It's just he just hasn't done it. So I'm going to continue to be underweight, and if he kills me, then he kills me.
So I'm going to do the same thing, and then I'm going to do what I've been doing basically every slate for the past couple of weeks, and I'll be over the field on TJ McConnell.
Yep.
Ben Shepard out. It doesn't really open up more minutes for him. Like we haven't projected for 21. I don't even know that he plays 21 minutes tonight, but he's such a good fantasy point per minute guy. And I mean, if I'm going to target him in other matchups, I'm definitely going to target him in this Washington matchup.
Yeah.
Quinn Jackson's been starting, and he's actually pulling a decent amount of ownership for 4,100. I don't think he's been terrible. We haven't projected for 23 minutes. I mean, is this a guy to mix in, especially if we're fading Halliburton?
Yeah, I think you can mix them in. Right now, I'm not getting to a ton, but I don't hate it at all.
And then just to do our full due diligence on this game, I am getting a few percent of Jerace Walker. I have been on most slates. I usually try to get away from it, but we don't have that many games to pick from today. Are you getting any Jerace?
Yeah, I have like 3% right now, and I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
Yeah, I'm going to end up under 10%, but he is a player I want to have in my exposures, especially on a short slate. Let's see if we have any questions in here. Maxi, let's take a look at Philadelphia. Yeah, so this game is on both both sites, right? Every other game
Yeah.
should be on both sides except for Sacramento, Brooklyn. So Maxi, Jared McCain. There's no Embiid. There's no Paul George. Uh, I don't know. These ownerships seem a little bit low to me, considering the Indiana ownerships. At least on FanDuel, what do we think about this?
Yeah. I was I pulled up my DK exposures, but currently I have no Maxi there. Let me double check on FanDuel. No Maxi on there either. I think he's fine to mix in. It's just I don't know. You kind of want him to play his 37, 38 minutes, and we haven't projected for 30. So I think that's just why the field's not really getting there.
Yeah, and like he was on track to massively fail last time, and then he must have scored like 30 points in a row in the second half. Finished with 48 fantasy points in 26 minutes. This is not something we should expect from him. Because I mean, if we knew he's only playing 26 minutes, we're just going to get 0% of him. It was a bit of a blowout, but I don't think he lost. Maybe he lost a minute or two to blowout run, but yeah, 30-minute projection is going to be tough. What about Jared McCain?
Yeah, I'm getting to a ton of McCain on both sides. Even though he's priced up, I still think he's a really good play, especially if Maxi is limited. They're going to need McCain's offense, and it's not really the best matchup, but he's shown he can kind of do it in any matchup. So I like going right back there.
Yeah, I agree with the Clippers being kind of tough. McCain has the highest usage rate on. I take that back. Maxi still has the highest usage rate, but only slightly ahead of McCain. And then it's like everybody else after him that's playing in the game tonight. So Jared McCain, it's like a little bit of sticker shock because his price is higher than it's ever been. But assuming Embiid and Paul George are out for more than a few more games, would you expect McCain's price to even go up more?
Yeah, I think he could really be an 8K player, especially if
Mm-hmm.
they continue to stagger him and Maxi. I think it really helps with his usage.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, McCain, it's just it's still risky because he's a rookie and he's on just an absolute heater right now. But the model likes him. Model thinks he's strong value, almost at that double-digit OF index, and I think his ownership is pretty modest. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it came in a little bit higher than this.
Yeah,
A couple other players on the Sixers that seems like, well, I guess Oubre is a better play on FanDuel. Getting a bunch of Oubre over there, not as much on DK, but I still would like to be over the 7%. And then, yeah, Yabusele getting a bunch, and Caleb Martin's kind of just that last guy in type guy.
yeah, that's exactly where I'm at too. I don't know if they'll start Yabusele again. I kind of think they will, and then bring Drummond off the bench. Last time I know we were kind of talking, and I didn't go max one of them two, but this time I'm gonna do that, even on a short slate. They just didn't share the court at all together.
Yeah, that time I guess we didn't know since Yabusele wasn't starting previously, but that's a rule I'm going to set today. And I mean, Yabusele could still get in foul trouble. There's definitely paths to Andre Drummond playing more than this 18 minutes. So at 3% ownership on DK, I don't mind taking a few shots there, but Yabusele is definitely going to be the preferred play, assuming he starts.
Yep.
Let's see. Douche, gents, let's get it. Douche has been on a little bit of a heater, too.
Yeah.
What do we think about JVal? Yeah, let's go back to Washington. I guess we missed him. So I'm looking at him as just a super GPP play where I don't know that he's going to project any better on certain days than others, but he's a guy at 5K on DK that we kind of just have to mix in, especially when he's not on the DK slate, but on FanDuel at 5,700 at 4%. Do you have interest there?
Yeah, I'm getting to a few percent of him. I think he's fine to get to. I kind of don't mind going to SAR either.
Yeah, was he on the injury report, Sar?
Yeah, he's questionable.
Okay, so if Sar's out, then I imagine Jovel's probably going to end up a lot more popular over on FanDuel. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that on DraftKings. But he's a guy who just comes in for like 12 minutes a game off the bench, and sometimes he, has 40, and sometimes he has 12. So it's just a risk you got to take. But at 4%, I think it's definitely worth getting more than 4%.
Yeah, I've been overweight to him pretty much every slate, so I'll probably
He,
continue.
I have to like turn him down every slate because I
Yeah,
get I get an uncomfortable amount.
yeah.
Heath, how we doing, my man? Grimes, Quentin Grimes. I love Quentin Grimes. I'm on the Quentin Grimes train when as long as he's starting, I think he's probably one of the better value plays today at 43 and 4,500. These ownerships to me are just wildly low. Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, I like Quentin Grimes as well.
Oh, he's already in my dummy. Don't pay attention to this. I put this in just to reserve my lineup. This is not what I'm going to enter at all later. But I mean, he only saw 23 minutes 2 games ago, but he got the 29 minutes. He was playing really well in this last game. Uh, I don't know. I think he's a really solid play, and this ownership is just a little bit low. Model thinks he's the top value on the Mavericks. After him, we got PJ Washington. Did you mention Daniel Gafford earlier? Maybe he was questionable.
Yeah, he's questionable.
All right. So if Gafford's out, I mean, we can probably fire up Lively a little bit more. His ownership will come up. What do you want to do with that situation if Gafford's in, though? Anything with these two?
Yeah, I think Lively will look a lot better. We have him. I don't know how many minutes we have him for, but you could probably add a couple minutes.
Yeah, 22 minutes each. So we haven't projected to not even take up all of the center minutes. And then we have Maxi Kleber at 14 minutes. I imagine we have Dwight Powell in here for a couple of minutes. Are you going to consider Powell or Kleber if Gafford's out?
I probably won't. No.
Yeah, just give a boost. I mean, PJ Washington already looks pretty good. Would you give him another boost if Gafford's out?
Yeah, he's him and Lively are the ones I would consider.
And then Kyrie Irving, strong OF index, value, not so good point per dollar. 12% on DK. He's 10,000 bucks, 9,100 on FanDuel at 33% ownership. How much Kyrie are you getting to?
Yeah, I'm getting to quite a bit of Kyrie. Not as much. Let me double check my DraftKings. Not as much on DraftKings as I am on FanDuel, but I'm pretty overweight to him on FanDuel, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I actually am only getting about 20%. So I'm with the field. On DraftKings, I got zero, but I probably need to adjust a couple of my value plays because I think to get Kyrie on fan or on DraftKings anyway at this 9,900, it's not so much about bumping Kyrie, but it's just to make sure you have the value pieces to be able to comfortably fit him without punting off too much.
Yep.
Let's see. Anything else from Dallas? Klay Thompson is shooting like 12% from three. Najee Marshall is not a bad GPP play, I think, at his price. Maybe he's slightly overowned since he went off last game, but I think he's worth a few percent. And then Jaden Hardy, probably a deep play. Maybe Spencer Dinwiddie too.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. I'm getting to a little bit of Najee, a little bit of Hardy, just as GPP plays.
Nice. Grimes pivot is Duncan Robinson. Is at a similar price? Let's take a look at Miami. Were you looking at Duncan Robinson today?
Um, I think he's fine. Let me see. Yeah, I have a few percent of him, but I wouldn't say like I'm in love with him. I'm not at the 16% that the field is, but I think he's okay.
Yeah, it looks like as of now, I'm half the field on DraftKings and with the field on FanDuel. Projected for 25 minutes. I mean, Duncan Robinson, what's he been doing? I didn't really think about him, but at 4,400, we definitely have to consider him on this slate. I mean, minutes are kind of volatile, which I like taking advantage of. He's been playing pretty well. I mean, as long as these minutes are somewhat going to be, I don't know, it's not consistent, 36 versus 23, but if he plays in this range, I don't even think we have him projected for, so 25 minutes with the potential for more. It's not a bad shout. Appreciate that one. I'll probably get some lineups with both of them, though, not just as a pivot to Grimes.
Yeah.
Mr. Don needs a point guard for large field. I mean, are we talking pay up, mid range? Do you need value? Why did I say value is not good for Kyrie? Just sorting by, so let's sort by OF index. Kyrie is, wow, surprising. Evan Mobley's number one on the model today. Very nice. Why Kyrie's not as good points per dollar? I mean, you can just immediately see Evan Mobley is much cheaper. His DK value is much higher. FD value is a good bit higher. Tyrese Halliburton, his value is higher at a cheaper price. And so while Kyrie rates very high on the model, remember OF index is not price sensitive. DK value is. So this incorporates the price. This doesn't. And so this is just saying that Kyrie has the second highest potential on the slate, very basically. But points per dollar, he doesn't rank out quite as well. It's not bad though. It's just not a spot that stands out like I usually point out with some of those studs. Smitty, what do you think about Don wanting to play both Sixers point guards in tournaments on DraftKings?
Like McCain and Maxey, I guess.
I'm assuming it's those two. Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I think I agree. It worked out last game, but I wouldn't expect it to a lot. It is a short slate, so I don't know that I'm going to set a rule against it, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get very many lineups that have that combo anyway.
Yeah, I'm not playing Maxey and then 2 point guards against the Clippers. I'll pass.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson's going to start with no Terry. Let's take a closer look at Miami. Let's sort by. Well, we can keep it right here. It's sorted by DK value right now. Bam, Jimmy, Harrow, Robinson. So that's something I will point out, kind of similar to Kyrie, although it's a little different for value. The model at 25 minutes for Duncan Robinson is not picking up on him as a strong points per dollar value. But if you give him 30 minutes, then he's going to be at the top of this list and he's going to show up much better overall, even amongst the other teams. And so it all just depends on what kind of minutes you give him. And it's kind of hard to guess today, but would you give him more than 25 minutes, Smitty?
I wouldn't. I just think the Heat just kind of have so many guys they can throw out there. Who knows if he closes? So I think there's a lot of variables. But if you wanted to give him more, you could, I guess.
I like it. Yeah. So, I mean, with all that, after looking at this, I might just try and be around the field. I probably won't make an effort to get over, but maybe if I need that value at the shooting guard position, then I end up with more. What about the payups? Bam, Jimmy, Tyler Harrow. Tyler Harrow with a better OF index than Jimmy at a higher price, too.
Yeah, I'm getting to a little bit of Jimmy and Hero. I think they're pretty decent plays. Um, I'm getting to more Jimmy right now than anyone, which never feels that great, but I think he looks pretty good at his price.
Yeah, Jimmy's a guy that I do not mind, especially when he's at this price, that I don't mind getting over the field on. His ownership, I wish it was a little bit lower, but this is still okay. And then Bam against Dallas, really good OF score. Model's telling us he's probably the strongest play from the Heat. I mean, some of these secondary guys, like Josh Richardson, projected for 17 minutes, no ownership. Alec Burks is going to pull 1 or 2% ownership. Jaime Hawkes, Haywood, Highsmith. Are we getting any exposure to these guys?
Right now, I currently have no ownership to any of them, but I think they're all just GPP plays.
Yeah, same. I have 0% my 150 to any of the guys I just mentioned. But I do have exposure to these top four. Let's take a look at Cleveland. Ty Jerome. Yeah, I noticed Ty Jerome's price, 5,700 on DraftKings, and he's still pulling 7%. He's 54 on FanDuel. It's a lot more reasonable at 11% ownership. What do you think about that as a play?
I'm not getting to any on either site right now. I just think everyone's back. Okoro is questionable, which could play a little bit, but overall, I'm just not really getting there.
Yeah, I would have to give Ty Jerome. What do we have him projected for? So we have him for 26. I'd have to give him like 7 more minutes to get any exposure to him. It's really tough, and we've talked about he's closed in like Jared Allen's been benched for Ty Jerome before, which is absurd. But when we were talking about that, he was also much cheaper, and this ownership it's low in general, but for this price, I think it's too much. What about the studs? Evan Mobley, top of the model. Donovan Mitchell looks really good. Jared Allen, double digits. Darius Garland's probably going to be the guy that I avoid from this team. But what about the other three? And what do you think about Darius?
Yeah, I'm getting to a ton of Mobley on both sides. He's my top play and the model's top play, so I like going overweight there. Donovan looks pretty good. I'm getting to a little bit of Okoro as value, assuming he plays. But then I think Jared Allen looks good. I'm underweight on Garland, and then Sam Merrill looks good, and he'll look better if Okoro is out.
Yep, pretty much agree with all of that. And then I'm getting a little bit of Craig Porter. I don't know, 1%.
Yeah, I don't hate that on DraftKings.
You wouldn't want any on FanDuel.
4,700. I guess if Okoro's out, maybe that helps him a little bit.
And then what are you doing in regards to any rules with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in the same lineup? You doing anything there?
Yeah, I'm a max one of Mobley and Allen, and then a max one of Mitchell and Garland. It's just the rules I go for every slate on them.
Nice. Yeah, sometimes I let those guys go through, but on today's slate, I'm not sure. I got to see how much I get of them together. I definitely don't want a lot of lineups with those guys, and I might set the rule for Mitchell Garland, but I might allow Allen Mobley just to see what kind of lineups those look like.
Yeah,
Cleveland backup guards with Levert out. Yeah, that's probably why. I mean, Craig Porter's even getting the 1%. It's just Ty Jerome. I don't know that he's overpriced, but if anything, he is the appropriate price, and so just for that, we probably don't want to target him. And he is overpriced on DraftKings.
yep.
Playing Allen and Mobley in the same lineup. I mean, if I had a single entry, they're not in my single entry together for sure. But yeah, I have Mobley in both my single entries right now. No Allen. Jaden Daniels just hit Terry McLaurin with an 86-yard bomb to tie the game with 22 seconds left, and the kicker missed the PAT.
Yeah,
Dude,
that doesn't surprise me.
that's disgusting. But that means I probably won fantasy this week because I have both of those guys. So nice. Smitty, what's another spot we haven't talked about yet? I guess should we go to the Brooklyn Kings game that's only on DraftKings?
Yeah, we can go to that one.
Oh, I mentioned
We
earlier I'm
didn't.
getting. Go ahead.
We didn't really touch on Toronto going against Cleveland, but they kind of just look like GPP plays for the most part. I am overweight on Scotty Barnes on DraftKings, and then I think Boucher makes for a decent GPP play. That's pretty much it from there.
I'm with you on both of those, and then I'll add in. I'm getting some RJ Barrett over on FanDuel. I think the 8,500 price, even with Scotty Barnes, is probably maybe it's a couple hundred overpriced, but he's a player that I want to get exposure to today. And then on DraftKings, I actually might still force a couple percent, and even at this 9K price.
Yeah. Barrett's been really good this year.
Yeah, and it's with him, it's the assists that I really like to see because it's like showing up as a good bet every day to take the under on his assists, and he's going over almost every day, and so that just it helps with the floor for his fantasy. And we don't care much about floor, but today, uh, maybe we care a little bit more. Any interest in Jakob Pertl or Grady Dick?
I do have a few percent of Pirtle, and that no interest in Dick though.
Yeah, with Pertl, we have him projected for 32 minutes. This is probably one of the tougher matchups for a big man in the NBA. 7 and 11%. It's a short slate. Maybe I force in a couple percent, but I don't even know if I'll get there. There was another. No, we touched on every team, right?
Yeah,
Why is Boston in here? Oh, because they're playing right now.
yeah.
All right, so Brooklyn Kings. I alluded to earlier. I think we're both getting a ton of exposure to this game on DraftKings. So, I mean, what's the starting point here?
Yeah, we have Dennis Schroeder's probable, and Zaire Williams is probable. So kind of, I just have them as in. Dorian Finney-Smith's out. That's the biggest news here. Overall, this team just looks pretty good on both sides. Or well, I guess they're only on DraftKings, but Zaire Williams, Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, Schroeder, they all look pretty good. I'm getting to a lot of Zaire, and I think Trenton Watford's a pretty good GPP play, specifically as a value play. And then Cam Johnson's always in play. He's kind of overpriced on DraftKings, but he can get hot, and there's nothing stopping him from shooting, really.
I'm over the field on every single player here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like literally every player on this list, I have more exposure on DraftKings and what they're listed at. I'm still going to adjust some things, but it just like the general thing that I think to note is just this team is one to target against Sacramento. I kind of think every single player is underowned, hence me being over the field on all of them. minutes projections are pretty volatile right now. Like Smitty mentioned, Schroeder's questionable. If he's out, it's just going to open up more. Uh, I kind of want him to play so that these ownerships don't jump because I kind of like where they're at right now. But yeah, I'm going to be very, very heavy to this Brooklyn team. And then on the other side, I'm also running it back with not as many Kings, pretty much only Demantis, De'Aaron, and DeMar, but I have pretty heavy exposure to all three.
Yeah, I do too. It don't really surprise me. It's one of the better matchups on the slate. I have a ton of Sabonis, Falk, and then I have some Keegan Murray mixed in too.
Dude, I have 90% Sabonis over on DraftKings right now.
I have 35%, but
Yeah, it's going to come down. I'm not going to even go into the first lock with a 90% of bonus, but just goes to show that, I mean, the value doesn't even seem that great today, but it's not hard to fit him in, I guess, especially if we get more from Brooklyn.
yeah,
So we are going to cut the stream a little bit short today, guys. We'll hang out for another 5 to 10 minutes. Go ahead, please throw your questions in the chat. We didn't have as many viewers today on the Sunday as we usually do. It's probably because we started the stream a little bit early, but we wanted to make sure we covered FanDuel. We know a lot of our viewers are playing over there too, and we're both playing on there. So, hopefully we can help you guys out with that. DK main. I guess we didn't look at the Clippers too much. You want to take a closer look at the Clippers?
yeah.
They're all pulling more ownership than I would expect. I mean, James Harden and Zubac, I kind of get, but Kevin Porter Jr. and Derek Jones, over 20% on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's about how my lineups look right now. I still got to make some adjustments, but I have a lot of Derek Jones. He's kind of helping me get to some of these pay ups. He's 3,500. The minutes will be there. I think he's a pretty solid play, but I don't know about it. 21%. And then I think Zubac is a pretty interesting play here as well. And then I'm still going back to KPJ and some Chris Dunn.
Yeah, it's like so Chris Dunn is going to start tonight. I don't see that changing. He's projected for 25 minutes, Kevin Porter for 23, but Kevin Porter's pulling a lot more ownership at basically the same price on DraftKings. And so I don't hate Kevin Porter as a play. He's been doing very well in his role off the bench. Norman Powell's out, so he's absorbing a little bit of that usage. Kevin Porter Jr. Is he already in here? He's already in my dummy. I mean, he's had two really good games in a row. This 26 minutes, though, a couple games ago, 27, 25. That's what we're interested in. So I don't know. I kind of like it. I like getting to both. I do like getting over the field on Chris Dunn either way, though.
Yeah, I think Dunn, I mean, he has a better chance to close.
Yeah, I think so too. And with Norman Powell out, I don't know how much they shared the court before, but they've shared the court enough that I'm comfortable not putting a rule to do max one of KPJ or Chris Dunn. And just scrolling through, I'm not getting that many lineups with both of them anyway, but maybe something to consider. Would you do that?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Okay, nice. We're still getting Discord. Yeah, Jayhawk's in there. I don't know if he's starting like in now, because
I
Tom
think
told
so, but I don't know.
Well, Tom told me 30 after, but our schedule still says 45 after, so I don't know what Jayhawk's doing. But we'll be here for like 5 more minutes. Jayhawk will start right before that anyway, if you have any last minute questions on FanDuel, and then we'll have a little bit of time to finish up DraftKings.
Uh,
KP, go ahead.
One more question. Are you getting to any Mo Bamba?
Mo Bamba, dude. This is a guy I've been jamming in on Clipper Showdown slates
Me
every
too.
night, and it's been working out. He actually, I got second in a big one the other night. Not a big one, but the $4 on the night slate. Mo Bamba was the key there.
Yeah, he's showing 14% right now. I think he comes in lower than that.
Mo Bamba. I don't know, man. I hate playing these like cheapy centers because it's so easy to fit them in builds. But I mean, we don't. Zubac and Sabonis, I guess, are the centers that we're really interested today. So we don't. I mean, it's not terrible to give up a center spot, right?
Yeah, Lively. I'd want more Lively if Gafford's out.
We just got a couple pieces of news. Let me pull this up real quick. Alex Sar's in. Nice. And then we got Sunday practice news. Don't need that yet. KPJ or Grimes, last man in on DK.
That's tough.
Model says Grimes by quite a bit. I mean, 13.1 versus 15.6, although Kevin Porter Jr., we have projected for 23, plus or minus 2 minutes. Quentin Grimes for 27. That's probably what he will play.
I like Grimes. The positional eligibility on Grimes is really nice.
Yeah, small forward helps. And I mean, the model's telling us he's one of the top values. He's projected for nearly half the ownership to KPJ. So a lot of times it's going to depend on who else is in your lineup, what kind of ownerships, what kind of leverage you need. But I'm probably just going to, I mean, I know that I'm going to have more Grimes in my exposures today than KPJ. And then Zaire Williams showing up as a top play too here. Derek Jones. Like Smitty said, the 21% feels heavy, and it kind of does. But 3,500, his price is going down. Norman Powell's still out. He's going to pick up a little bit of extra usage. So, I mean, these are three spots we can take advantage of: Derek Jones, Zaire, and Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the Zaire for sure because he's one of my highest exposed players right now.
Right? It's like you have a take on someone before you look at any of the data, and
Yeah,
it's like the data agrees with you. It's like, all right, well,
let's roll.
now I'm going to end up playing way too much of this guy.
Yeah. The good thing is that's the last game on DraftKings, so we can always swap out of it, or whoever's starting, we could swap to.
Yep. Yep. It should be really easy. There's a lot of options over there. Just real quick, top FanDuel options overall for value. Quentin Jackson is number one, followed by Kyle Kuzma. So, I mean, Kyle Kuzma's price is just so dumb 6,600. And yeah, he's 48% owned. His minutes have been down. But, I mean, if there's a game for him to get right, this is it. I hate the 48%, but Kuzma, I mean, model's telling us to play a ton of him.
Yep. We just got the Wizards starting. Brogdon, Koulibaly, Kuzma, Keyshawn George, and Sar.
So, I guess that's probably about what we were expecting, right? Maybe not
Yeah.
Keyshawn, but
And then Malik Monk got upgraded to doubtful. So I'm pretty sure he was out.
yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
thinking
he was
about Malik
out.
today.
He got upgraded to doubtful. That's kind
What's
of
up,
weird.
dude? What's the point? So if it's like just on Malik Monk, real quick, if he gets ruled in, we mentioned we're not getting to anyone on Sacramento except for the big three. He's going to come in like 1% owned. He's probably okay to take some tournament shots on, or maybe if you need to save some min cashes, swap into Malik Monk.
Yep.
With the Wizards, though, so the model is not going to recognize anything about Malcolm Brogdon being any kind of value. Like I mentioned before, his OF index was the lowest I've ever seen, projected for 20 minutes. We had him projected for 28. I'm assuming the model already thinks he was going to start since he did last game. Model still hates him as value, 5,300 on FanDuel. I mean, I'm actually probably going to be over this 24%. So I don't think the model is rating Brogdon correctly.
Yeah, it's just such a good matchup. They're going to need a veteran out there to run this offense with the young guys. So I'm overweight there.
And like I mentioned, he had two like terrible games. But then he looked like his old self last time. So kind of similar to Kuzma. I mean, if there's a game to kind of get in your rhythm, this one's got to be it for Brogdon, especially with no pool. It's
Yep.
disgusting. All right, we'll do a DK core real quick. Yeah, I hate that Quentin Jackson's not on the DK slate. It's probably saving you, man. You're upset now, but you'll probably be happy in 45 minutes. Let's build a quick dummy here. So I don't know. What can we keep from here? Quentin Grimes. That's pretty much it. Maybe KPJ stays in here.
Yeah.
What else do we want to? What are the first players in?
I like McCain.
Yep. Let's do McCain. Do we want to do Yabusele
Yeah.
today? Oh no, still shooting guard.
And definitely Evan Mobley.
Yep. Evan Mobley. Are we okay just putting him at center?
Yeah, I'm fine with that on this slate. Not a center I really love.
Yeah. When I was scrolling through, like my two center builds on DraftKings are Zubac and Sabonis. And so Mobley's still a power forward today, right? Yeah. So we
Yeah.
could still fit that in if you wanted to. For this dummy, we probably can't, but who's next for you?
Zaire Williams for me, but let's see.
No, I like that. No, model
Okay.
approved. We both like him. Small forward, too. Like
Yeah,
Smitty said, that eligibility is so huge.
it's nice.
Zaire Williams, 3,700. Now, when we're considering him, I'm imagining him starting. Are you comfortable with him as a strong play, even off the bench?
I think he's a good play off the bench, but I think he's a great play if he's starting.
Yeah, so I think we're both thinking about him as if he's going to start. Hopefully, get this 26 to 28 minutes. If he's off the bench, I don't know. I'll have to see what his projected ownership is. I'd still have interest though at 3,700.
Yep.
It leaves us 9K for two positions. I mean, do we want to just go with Sabonis top of the model on
Sabonis.
DK?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like Sabonis.
easy play. $8,400 for the last forward spot. We could go to Scotty Barnes. You mentioned you like him against Cleveland. Gets us the run back with Mobley, so
Yep.
that works out. If you guys don't like
DeRozan.
that, yeah, DeRozan works. You can upgrade, one of these value plays. Maybe get rid of Yabusele in a tough matchup. PJ Washington, I think, should be considered too. Yeah, a lot of stuff you can do, but I mean, the core is McCain in the core.
For me, he is as of my build, like before we did the show.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at the model value, this actually is probably pretty close to the core build. Maybe take Kevin Porter out, but these like Mobley, Sabonis, top of the model, and then I think these three top value plays, and then McCain looks good too. So
Yep.
maybe it's not as bad of a slate as we initially thought.
No, I think there's a few pretty good ways to get different.
Mr. Don, you just got back. Did we give a core? It's on the screen, my man. For me, I think the core is Sabonis, Mobley, and then Grimes and Zaire. Yabusele rates out as a strong value, and McCain is a really strong mid-range play.
Yep.
And last question from DePrince. What's your favorite FanDuel center?
Miles Turner.
All right. I definitely need to adjust something because I actually only have exposure to one center on FanDuel, and it's Miles Turner.
Yeah, I have a ton of Miles Turner. I had to turn him down. And then I think Zubac is probably my second favorite.
Yeah. And so I have exposure to Mobley and power forward, not at center. I'm going to force in some percent to Bam and Zubac.
Yeah, I want some Lively and Gafford too, if they're both in.
Yeah, and what's great about them is they're the same price. So you can just swap to, if Gafford's out, you can just easily swap to Lively.
Yep.
Nice, guys. Nice show today, Smitty. I liked it. Good Sunday. Jayhawk's probably already underway in the Discord. If you want access to that, instructions are in the description below. If you want access to the model to see the updates later, I know the show's a little early today, you can sign up. It's a little $7 a week. It's $1 a day. Ask us any questions if you have them, and appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.